Groundwater is often overlooked as a major freshwater resource. We can see here this lake, as nice as it is, it's only a small percentage in terms of total global river and lakes of the fresh water in the Earth's crust. So perhaps 98% of all fresh water outside of the ice sheets and snow is in the ground as groundwater. So lakes and rivers, only about 2% of the available fresh water. So groundwater is very important for supplying drinking water supplies. Perhaps 2 billion people worldwide depend on groundwater for drinking water. The main use for groundwater worldwide is in irrigated agriculture. So some of the major agricultural areas of the world, like the North China Plain, the High Plains Aquifer in North America, supply water to support irrigation in those big food producing areas. The fact that it is underground and out of sight, it's very much overlooked, not very well understood, so surface activities and polluting activities can quite easily pollute groundwater, and when that happens it takes a very long time for the aquifer to recover, the aquifer being where the water's stored in the rock. And also people don't understand that if they overpump the groundwater, then they're going to have impacts on surface water features that are dependent on a water table, like a lake or a river. So you get these impacts environmentally from over-abstraction of groundwater. Well, Hermitage is taking a global scale approach to analysing the impacts of climate change on different sectors, including the water sector. And until this point, there's not been much research on how climate change will affect the global groundwater resources. So we're making a particular effort in the Hermitage project to link the land water simulations to the groundwater store, and then to look at the results of climate impacts on that groundwater store and how that may affect irrigated agriculture and water supply to world populations. So it's the first time that we're taking an approach to looking at groundwater globally and looking at the effects of climate change. That's going to take our research a step forward. Anything that raises the agenda for groundwater is always good in the policy arena. Again, it's often overlooked. One of the main challenges for groundwater is to improve governance structures so that people who are policymakers communicate with people who use the water, say a farmer. So much better governance of groundwater is needed globally. So it's partly about raising the profile of groundwater and making people aware of the likely impacts of climate change, which will only really make worse some of the existing problems that we have due to over-abstraction that are quite current due to mismanagement. I think that groundwater is going to be an essential part of our future in terms of an important store of water and therefore a supply, particularly in arid areas and indeed in Africa as a whole, where there are no surface water supplies. There's always groundwater beneath your feet. And I think that I can be optimistic as long as we understand groundwater, how it works as an aquifer, and then manage it properly, hence this need to have proper governance. Well, in Africa, the groundwater, even though it is present everywhere, the kind of rock type, it's a crystalline rock, it's fractured, it's very unpredictable in terms of its physical properties. So you may drill a well or dig a well or drill a borehole and you won't find any usable good supply of water. So it's a bit hit and miss finding groundwater in an area that is perhaps complex geologically, but it is there, so we have techniques for finding that groundwater. So I'm optimistic that there can be a role for groundwater in improving food production in parts of the world like Africa, where we do need to have more food production.